Shabbat shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome to the Hebrew Woman Show. I am your host, Renaissance Woman, aka Ren Judah, and I'm here with my co-host Zell. Zell, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
So today we're just gonna keep it kind of light and just talk about a few things, a few stories we were talking about ourselves, and we were like, you know what? Let's just have a conversation about these little topics and a little segment we saw on today's show. Of course, we're going to start off with our slides as always, and you guys see, I told you guys we have a new look, so I hope you all like it. And starting next week, for sure, we are going to be doing the audio books, our leadership series on Friday night. We'll listen to the chapter, and then we can even come back on the Sabbath morning and talk about it a little bit, and just kind of talk about those leadership lessons. No, Zil, last week I covered the law of addition, and I
Hmm.
was just talking about when you talk about Maxwell's law of addition, are the things that you do as a leader, do you leave a lasting impact on the people who you are leading? And that goes for family, friends. Like, are you a taker or do you leave a place better than you found it? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so that's something I think about too, like because we always talk about these topics of people being energy vampires and people who are users and all these things. So, but what about the opposite side of that? What does it look like when you occupy space with a group of people and when you're in community with people? And what does actually being a contributor to the community look like and to the people who you are leading and serving in the community? I think that's something that requires some reflection, and that's why we still have the leadership workshop series available for you all, like the slides that go with the chapters. If you are interested in any of those, if you're interested in the worksheets, as always, you can email me at sister7@gmail.com. That's SISTAH@gmail.com, and I will be happy to send you those materials. That being said, let's get into it. So, the purpose of this channel is for us to explore our biblical principles. You're looking for a community of women to come and talk things out with, reason with, walk with. This is the channel for you. This is for you to explore your biblical principles, to find out if you are in alignment with the word of the true and living God, because that is our goal, to make sure that we are giving Torah based guidance. And it's for every role, like it says here on the screen. So we hope you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we are live every Sabbath, and we're working on the time. But my goal is to get us on track with 11 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock, 1:20, and today just workouts there. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so we have the
No.
same. So while we do have a new look here, you see our new look here. Our principles are the same. The purpose is for us to examine ourselves. 2 Corinthians 13:5 says, "Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how Christ is in you, except ye be reprobate." And Adele, I don't know if people, when I read this, people are like, "Why does she keep doing this over and over again?" Because for me, when we come together on the Sabbath, we should be coming with the mindset that we are in a state of reflection, that we are
Yes.
reflecting on the past week, what went well, what didn't go well, and what can I do about it? Because the whole idea is continual growth and change.
Exactly.
That is not going to happen if you don't examine yourself.
Hmm.
Whenever I would
Absolutely.
have in leadership, whenever you have an incident at work, whether it's good or bad, like there should be some reflection. And right now, I'm in a period of transition, and so for me, I'm examining what went well, what worked, what didn't, what am I doing now, what am I heading towards, and just as we build this platform, you guys know we are part of the Working Class Chronicles. As we build this media network, I examine the work that we do and make sure that, the stories are things that matter, or that we're talking about topics that matter, that can actually make you examine yourself. Because I don't want to just sit here and be talking. I want you to take the content And it is for you to think about, how are you engaging with the world around you? How are you engaging with the people in your life? Are you a giver or are you just a taker? Are examine, are you one of those people when you have incidents and you get into it with somebody that you're always right? And we know just logically, Zeb, that that's not right. Nobody's always right.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
So what are you doing to make the next situation better? To make the next relationship better? What are you doing? What are you contributing? And I think a lot of times we don't think about that because we're so caught up in ourselves and what we want and what we need. I like in Scott Peck's definition of love, and it's talking about extending your will for the benefit, and I'm paraphrasing here, for the spiritual growth of someone else. And are you doing that? Are you extending yourself in any kind of way? And let's, I have to, I love that in Scott Peck
Hmm.
quote on what love is,
Hmm.
definition of love. And his definition of love is, it is an act or will of extending, the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. So are
Oh
you
yeah.
extending yourself? That's, and that extension, what does that extension look like in the body of Christ? It looks like the fruits of the spirit. Okay. We're here to train ourselves to think biblically, not emotionally. Emotions are God given, they are real, but wisdom is our responsibility. We don't suppress our emotions, right? We submit to the truth, though. The Bible says, be angry, but sin not. And that's in Ephesians 4 and 26. Be angry and sin not. Let the sun not go down upon thy wrath. And why did he say that? It is, hey, you are okay to, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel these things. But you have a responsibility
Mm.
for whatever you do, whatever acts you commit in your anger, in your joy, whatever you are feeling, you have to be accountable for how you're responding. So it doesn't, I just got carried away. And does that happen? Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're here to be accountable. And biblical thinking weighs on our feelings. And when we weigh that biblical weight, we're weighing those feelings against the law. So that's how you make sure you stay in alignment. Because if it's how I'm feeling in alignment with the law, because if I act on these feelings, are these feelings, am I allowing them to cause me to act outside of the law? What do you got to say about that?
Hmm. That is so true. This is actually one of those things I am working on. I definitely need a lot of work on to train myself to think biblically and not emotionally. It can be so easy to get caught up, get angry at somebody, get frustrated, and not think about what's the lesson that's there for me to learn from this. How can I be better? How can I be an example? How can I grow from it? Instead of just getting irritated and wanting to just do and say whatever is on the top of my head. I got to work on this one. I'm not, I have to tell you, this one is going to be this is a growth area for me for sure.
And that is why these scriptures are always coming up for me, because these are my struggles as well. And I do think that, our principles, our values, they matter. And so knowing when to take a stand and what that should look like. Matthew 10 and 16, be therefore ye wise as serpents and harmless as doves. What does that look like? And so there are times
Mm-hmm.
where you're going to take a stand because it's the right thing, and it can cost you. And is there peace in that? And then there are going to be times where you see things and it is for you to just watch and pray.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just need to just be still. And so knowing the difference, you know, we can be emotional yet led by the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Galatians 5 and 22, well, chapter 5, 22 through 23. So we want to think on these things, and that's why I share these. So as you all see, this is where we are going forward. Okay? So did you have anything else to add?
No, I did not.
All right. We strive to be women. Titus 2:1-5 says, but speak thou things which become of sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith and charity, and the aged women likewise, that they be a behavior that becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to too much wine, but teachers of good things. And I want to ask you, are you a teacher of good things today? And when I say teacher, it doesn't mean that you're just sitting up pontificating and preaching and telling people what to do. Do you embody sound doctrine? Do you embody holiness, temperance, charity, faith, braveness, sober? Are you embodying these things? Are you not a false accuser? Nina, are you a liar? And if you are, you need to go back and examine yourself. 2 Corinthians 13:5. Once again, these are repeated for a reason because we all need these
Mm,
reminders. None of us have perfected this walk, but that's what this community is for us to come together. And this is where we talk about Proverbs 11:14. We're here to be a wise counsel and to assist one another because Proverbs 11:14 tells us where no counsel is, the people fall, but in a multitude of counselors there is safety. You should be surrounding yourself with wise people who are, as they like to say, who are rooting for you, people who want to see you
mm-hmm.
win. And that goes for when you're seeking relationship advice, and that's where that came up. I don't know if you remember that conversation when you were talking
Mm-hmm.
about who you should be getting advice from when you are seeking relationship counseling. And not
Mm-hmm.
to throw anybody out there, but there
Yeah.
are a lot of content creators on here who are angry, they're bitter, they've had bad luck in relationships, and they are on here spreading their misery to other people, telling them what they should and should not want. And while they have nothing, you
Yeah.
don't want that kind of advice. You want to talk to people who are actually going to consider the problems that you're bringing before them, and they're going to give you good, sound doctrine. They are teachers of good things, and you will know them by their fruit. I always like to give a second witness. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no counsel, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law is happy. So not only are you supposed to keep wise counsel about you, you're supposed to keep the law because why? It's going to make you happy. Don't you want to be happy today? Then you need to make sure you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. And we are going to continue our leadership workshop series. And and like I said, on Friday nights we will cover the chapters, and then we'll come back the Sabbath morning and we'll have some conversations and examples, real life examples of what leadership looks like and what for example, when we talked about the law of addition, next week I'll be ready to expand upon the next chapter, and we'll come back and maybe watch some videos that coincide with the lesson. So that being said, Zell and I Zell, this last slide I did want to bring in. I wanted to get your perspectives on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking of the idea of our first assignment is kingdom and not comfort. Because
Mm-hmm.
there are situations have found myself in where I could have remained silent and been comfortable and just got whatever I was going to get. But then I had to decide, can I be silent or do I have to stand on what I believe? I made
Mm-hmm.
I made the choice to stand because I have to look myself in the mirror, because I feel like, not just how I feel, I know that God does not reward cowards, and that the Bible tells us to cry aloud and spare not. So I had to accept discomfort because my goal is the kingdom. While I want to be comfortable here on earth, a lot of times that's just not feasible. But righteousness comes first. Doing the right thing comes
Mm-hmm.
first. For me, saying something. Really, I like to see something, say something. I'm in that
Yep.
say something season. And so let's say our primary assignment is the kingdom and not comfort. We are aliens and strangers here, for we have no continuing city, but we seek the one to come. That's Hebrews 13 and 14. So, well, where is your priority? Is your priority on the kingdom, or is your priority to be here just going along to get along?
Mm.
We don't belong here. You have a citizenship in heaven, not this world. That's what Philippians 3 and 20 tells us. And if we're to represent his kingdom and not conform to the world, that means you don't get to be silent in the face of unrighteousness. That's Matthew 5 and 14. And we labor for eternity. We invest in what outlasts time, not in what fades. First Corinthians 15 and 58. We are not here to fit in. We are here to fulfill his purpose. And I just wanted to, I created this slide and I just had to put all those ideas together because I felt like these when we're talking about integrity, when we're talking about justice, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, whether it's whatever your place of worship is, your principle, if you are standing on biblical principles, this is your north star. This is your priority. So if that means you lose friends, it may mean you lose a job. You can maybe even lose your home. But in the end, what do you say? I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread.
Mm.
Stand for what's right. The Most High got you. Remember those
Exactly.
lilies in the field. So before we go, so we were just talking about because I said today we just keep it kind of light. I want to just talk about a couple of little things trending that I saw on social media, and it was partly because I was listening to an audiobook and I heard the quote, not to mistake gratitude for trust, because while they feel the same, they both occupy completely different spaces. So when I thought about that, who came to my mind? Shanquilla
Well,
Robinson.
um,
Because I thought about her, and it's funny. It made me think of her because I was thinking about because I was meditating on that quote because it really struck me because I've seen instances of people mimicking gratitude. Oh, thank you. She put those people out of town to Mexico. They said she bought all the food. She was doing all this stuff. She treated them. And that still wasn't good enough for them. So while they win and they're on a plane, they're happy, they're joyous, they're grateful. But in the background, there's resentment. There's so much resentment and hatred that they killed that girl. And so now, as a matter of fact, oh, that's the news story. One of they are getting ready to have the civil trial, and I saw it was updated. I believe it was last week that one of the defendants moved to have the case to have her name struck from the case. Here, let me play this for you guys. Hold on, let me share my screen here.
Has to be removed from a wrongful death lawsuit. So this case, a judge is denying a woman's request to be removed from a wrongful death lawsuit. So this case now is tied to the 2022 death of Shanquilla Robinson, a Charlotte woman who died while vacationing in Mexico. So her death made international headlines after disturbing video showed Robinson being assaulted while on that trip. Her family later filed a lawsuit against the 16 of Robinson's travel guests. So one of the group members, who has now since changed her name, attempted to get the lawsuit dismissed. Records now show that request was.
See, the
I'm
request
not
was
seeing the
denied.
video.
Yeah, because they'll strike the channel if you use the video with
Oh, okay.
this news footage. But you can hear the story. Basically, one of the defendants, she's changed her name, and she wants to get her name removed from this because see, there's a lot of smoke that's come with them, these people. Because while the justice system did not hold them responsible because they said it was a lack of evidence to charge anybody, they are getting to work on social media and just pariahs in a lot of places. When people with those names come up, people don't forget, and they're being held accountable in ways that we don't get to see. and it got so bad for her that she went and got her name changed. And I say a lot of times too, when we always talk about people getting what they deserve, they're still going forward with this civil trial.
Mhm.
It still doesn't change the fact that every day these people live, they're gonna have to live with the fact that they murdered that girl. And I
Mm.
don't think it's as easy as people think that it is, and especially in this age of social media, where things never die. As a matter of fact, I was just looking on social media, and you can still see people are still doing videos about Shanquilla. So there are people now, and there are people who have built their whole platforms, just like there are people who built their platforms around the Kanika Jenkins tragedy. There's a whole other, they created like a subculture. This Shanquilla Robinson situation did the same thing. And for me, just what really stands out is about this is where we talk about where those principles that we play every day on this channel show up in reality. It's about vetting the people who you have around you. It's about having wise counsel and developing your spirit of discernment. Because she can't tell us now, but in hindsight, being 2020, when we look at situations that we have, thank God, survived, we can always look back and say, you know what, they showed me that, though the signs were there, but I didn't want to believe that about them, you
Mm.
know, or I saw this, but I just was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. And
Yeah.
this is what we talk about trusting yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it makes me wonder, what realization, because I know they were saying that during the fight she wouldn't fight back. She wasn't fighting her friend, and it made me wonder what was going through her mind when she really probably got a chance to see who she thought was her friends, and they just weren't.
I think sometimes people are so shocked that maybe in her shock she just thought being passive that they would stop. But that just goes to show you the level of malevolence
Mm.
and hatred that they had towards her, the spirit of jealousy and envy that they had for over at her for having what they felt they deserved, what was should have been theirs. And I said there was a YouTuber here that when those PPP loans were going out, told another content creator about them and became angry because the person didn't give them any of the money. I'm like, you do know those PPP loans is called a loan for a reason. That money had to be paid.
Mhm.
And while some people they were forgivable loans, some people didn't have to pay them back. But you had to meet a certain standard even for that to happen. But either way, they had to qualify for that. I mean, I'm sure they were grateful for you telling them, but nobody owes you anything. And the fact that you think that they do because you told them something, that's like if I told you about a great deal somewhere and you went and bought it out, I'm mad because you don't give me some. I'm just like, that's really trivial. But to me, all of this stuff is that trivial. Like that led you all to kill her. Well, she took you on a trip. You couldn't even be grateful for that. You're eating their food, you're enjoying a free trip, and it still wasn't enough. And it also speaks to, I think at a certain point she was feeling things and she knew the things weren't right. But this is where we have to talk about women and our people pleasing. Because I know I definitely
Mhm.
have that people pleasing thing at times. I just want to get along. I don't want no smoke. Listen, like what? And I've gone along with things that I knew I was not comfortable going along with as far as to keep the peace. Even
Yeah.
though I can even on social media some ways that some content went. I'm just like, yeah, that's not right. But you're there, and it's like, well, I'm here now. So
Mm.
it's like, what do you do? And it's just like that. These are the times where you end up having to learn the hard way that you should just go ahead and stand your ground and remove yourself. You know what? If you're going to keep behaving this way, I'm going to have to remove myself until you can show up in a way that that can benefit us all. Because first of all, when people are acting out in unprofessional ways on stage or in ways that can cause problems for you and your name, sometimes making people mad or hurting somebody's feelings is it's just what has to be done for your own peace of mind.
Mm. So
So
true.
yeah, and there's a lot of instances where I think a lot of situations, especially with friendships, that come up and it just triggers that thought of that incident for me, because I see so many people feigning friendships, and the whole time, while unfortunately in her case it led to her death, and in other people's cases it's led to the death of careers, it's led to the death of friendships and other things,
Mm.
because one person really, while they were pretending to be grateful for maybe an opportunity that you gave them, the whole time they hated you and they wanted to replace you. And
Exactly.
yeah, so
Exactly.
it's like my grandma used to say, everybody's smiling, or in the church, everybody's shouting, they're happy.
Exactly.
So you really have to watch people, because I do think, to Robert Greene's point, a lot of times when you kind of walk up on these people and catch them unawares, and they pay attention to that first reaction to you, it's the most honest one, because a lot of times people, I hate to say this, they hate you and you don't even know it.
So true. So true. Wow.
So yeah, I don't want to stay in a dark place, so let's move on to something a little bit lighter. Yes, I want to
Okay.
share a video that Dale
The title
wanted to
here.
talk
Today we're speaking on
about
barbershops.
barber.
Barbershop, used to charge 50.
Hold on, I don't know why. You can hear the video, but you couldn't
Oh
see it.
yeah. Yeah. I can see
Okay.
it.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
$20, maybe 30, 40-ish, but right.
Wait, go
Welcome to
back.
Thrivent Camps as we speak on the economy. And as you see the title here, today we're speaking on barbershops. Barbershop, used to charge $15, $20, maybe 30, 40-ish, but right now, as we can see, I don't know if this is because of the economy, but haircuts now have become in a high price, which is $100 or $150. And a lot of these guys are having a problems over it, to the point where they're basically trying to cut their own hair because it's too much. Let's watch this.
$100 for a haircut. It's insane. Really insane. I just went into this barber shop to see if I can get a cut because I can't make it out to my barber. I asked him how much for a haircut. This mother out of his mouth. $100 for a haircut. I looked at him like, man, you got to be joking, man. $100 for a haircut. So I looked at his prices. He even had $50 for kids. And most kids are getting a ball and a taper. And this dude wanted $100 for a haircut, man. Look at y'all community who y'all
Mm.
serving, man. Y'all serving poor people, but yet y'all.
Are you
Did you say
boarding or is that me?
I don't know. It's clear on my end, so you have to tell me. So at this point, he was saying that he was telling them, the barbers, talking about the barbershops, looking at the community that they serve, and that $100 is just too much, and he feels like they're fleecing the flock. So they'll you want to? Are you there?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here.
So what did you
How is my
what
signal?
struck you about this video? And this is by Thrive with Cam. So shout out to her. Go check out her channel and check it out and subscribe.
I honestly, I did not know that haircuts had gotten this expensive. I've seen a few where I knew that exclusive haircuts were more pricey, because I've seen a few places where they were offering massages and scalp conditions and a lot of other facials and all of that, and then the price would end up being somewhere around $400 for a haircut. But I didn't know that your average haircut was at $100 now, and then I think even more if you have a beard. And I'm sitting here now thinking, I could not even imagine how on earth are they actually affording this? What is happening? Because how is the if the median income is somewhere around 55,000 for someone, how on earth are they affording $100 and then $50 for kids. I don't know how that's supposed to, to me, that's outrageous. I could see maybe 30 or $40. And honestly, $40 is high, but 100 is crazy to me.
So what made this catch your attention? What made it stick out for you? Like, how did you end up getting this video?
Well, I had actually had this conversation with my son to begin with, and so we were just discussing the price because he recently, my son just recently started cutting his own hair. He just shaved it off because he refused to pay because he also has a beard, so he refused to pay that much money. I think something happened. He went to the shop. He had to wait a long time to get a cut. Then when he got a cut, I think it cost him somewhere around $70. Plus he had to tip, and for what he was getting, he felt like that was just way too much money. And so he was just like, "I'm not doing this." And he likes to keep a nice. So if you're a man that likes to keep a nice cut, you know, you're doing it every week, and depending on how fast your hair grows, you may do it even more often. And so, because he was even saying, if you just wanted, because like for him, he would just go in and get an edge up to make sure his edges were really clean, and even that would be like $40. And so he was
Wow.
like, "There's just no way." And so normally he doesn't complain. And I thought when I saw this video, you don't normally hear men really going in on one particular thing like this. And so when I saw this, I was like, yeah, they're feeling this. If this many men are commenting like this, they're feeling it. And then the fact that I had my son saying the same thing, talking about all of this, which is what made me look for it.
And yeah, so like you said, $70 and $40 for an edge up, I can definitely see. And to your point, you're paying $70 for the haircut, and they want a tip.
Yeah.
And then what's the tip supposed to be? Which
Well,
led to
and the tip is usually, well, the tip typically would be anywhere from at least $10, $10 to $20. Now, mind you, he told me if you don't tip, then the next time you come, you might end up sitting there an hour or two before you get in the chair. The people that tip, usually he'll let them come on in and they don't have to wait very long to get in the chair. So that's the
but
difference if you don't tip. Isn't that crazy?
yeah, but I'm like they make you schedule appointments now to get a haircut. I most of like barber something
Exactly.
you got to schedule appointments, so I shouldn't have to wait if I scheduled an appointment. And if I'm paying $70, like you know that's already expensive for people, and the economy is what it is. Which let's bring up to your question earlier where you were talking about tips.
Exactly. So you're paying this much money already. Well, to me, the thing that's crazy is now they've lost a customer. So now he doesn't go there at all. So you don't have to worry about his money or his tips because they've lost someone. And it's like, well, if your price is what it is, then you'll just charge what you're gonna charge. Why are you now pressed about a tip? I don't understand that. I totally don't.
And one of my thing too is you don't know what people's budget looks like, and the fact that they're stretching and they're still coming to try to get a haircut and deal with you, even though your haircut is out of their budget, they're still coming. And then for you to demand a tip, that is off-putting, and I can see it making somebody go and try to cut their own hair. And so I was saying what to your question earlier when we were talking about it. You asked me should tips be abolished, and my response was that I think in this society it's kind of too far gone because I was just it's funny that you had asked that question because I had just watched a video of someone traveling in Asia and they tried to tip and the people were offended. They were like, no. But that's not the case here. This is where we have a lot of jobs, especially waitresses and um, and I would say in all the service industry, people expect this, and so I don't think you can roll that back. But to the point, though, if you're offering a hundred
Mm,
dollar and $70 service in a community that doesn't have it, I think you do have to be realistic about your expectations.
exactly. Exactly. And then part of what brought it up is we recently, when I say recently, like within the past year, one of the barbershops in my town closed. And so now, actually, there were two in my town, and they've both closed. And so now in my town, the black men don't have a barbershop. They have to go to another town to get their haircut if they're getting haircuts. So it's
Hmm.
like a whole thing now.
Yeah, the economy, and I can say too that I do have an idea of probably what's driving the cost of haircuts up as well is the booth rent. Because if you're
Oh,
still paying rent and mortgages in these places, your cost has gone up just like apartments and everything else has gone up. So they have to charge more. So not only are they paying more in booth rent, they're probably paying more at home as well. So they're trying to find a balance to where they can pay their bills too. So it just really sets up a vicious cycle.
that is very, very true. But then the question then becomes, they're going to have to find a balance because if people are closing or people are leaving these shops, I mean, because it's not even just barber shops, it's beauty salons as well. Right now, a lot of beauty salons here, a lot of people have gone natural. And now it's
Hmm.
almost as if the only reason that people are going to the salons is strictly because they want maybe braids or they want a wig installation, something along those lines. But there
And
aren't
they
as
may need to
nearly
take off. Yeah.
they don't have nearly as many like where you're going and actually getting because they charge so much to do natural hair is what the problem is. So like for instance, I have natural hair. So if I decide I wanted to go in and get a press and curl, extremely expensive. If I wanted to just, get my hair washed and twisted, very expensive.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, why would it? And that's without the style. If I wanted to get a wash, and then they twist it, and then I take it down later on, that's still a couple $100 without them styling it, just washing it and either twisting it or braiding it back. And then I do a braid out. I take it down later and style it.
Yeah, I think I think the struggle is real. I think, and that's why, like I said, I know a couple of barbers who have just left the shop and they cut hair at home because the one, like she was telling me, an older barber just paying the shop rent and paying her rent because she's a senior and
Mm.
she's not a homeowner. She's living in a senior facility. Hey, I can't afford to pay rent and um, pay booth costs,
Wow.
so she's just cutting at home.
Mm.
So I think that's probably one of the issues too. And so, and then guys, we got one more video for you guys, and so this is and this kind of goes to I was looking for let me see, it popped down. I had it sitting here. Let me see if I can just share it. I think this is it. I don't have any. Can you see it? Okay. So this is today's show, so you guys know I'm gonna have to take this off the screen.
Here. Okay, there are some buzzy debates causing a stir on social media. So that means it's time for
The internet's divided. Okay, here's additional what everybody's talking about is our today digital editorial director, Ariana Davis.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
How are you?
Hi.
We love it when you tell us what the internet's all about.
Here with the tea.
Okay, what do we got, girl?
So the first is a good one. So a TikTok user named MyTerisha posted that she went to a job interview. She was wearing a white top, a white cardigan, and a pair of black shorts. Went to the job interview and she completed the first part. For the second part, it was a tour of the offices, and the recruiter said, "Listen, would you mind considering going home and changing because the shorts are not a part of our dress code in the office?"
Yeah.
And so she declined to return for that part of the interview. She said, "No, thank you. I don't want a job that doesn't consider shorts as part of their dress code." She posted the video. Obviously, everyone has a lot of thoughts. What do you guys think about this one? Do you think shorts are ever appropriate for a job interview or in like the workplace?
I think you have to dress for the job that
Yeah.
you're
Yes.
taking.
Yep.
Like if you're a flight attendant, you have to wear the outfit.
Yeah.
If you work on Wall Street or whatever, you have to wear this. If you work at the, whatever shop. I think your job, you could be an individual, but they have a code
Yeah.
for every job's got its own vibe.
Yeah.
If you want a shorts job, then maybe there are places that are looser or more comfortable.
But also, I mean, even here, I'll put something on, and Alex will be like, a little short, whatever it is. And if she's, or Talia will be like, whatever, and I listen to that. Talia.
So we're like that part. I think is we thought enough of that. And I'll skip to the next segment that they talk about in a minute. But you guys know I'm kind of old school, so I definitely believe you should dress for the job. And if they have a dress code, you have to adhere to it. But I also like the fact that like she knows who she is, and so you know if something isn't for you. I think this generation has that better than what we do. I
Yeah.
think there are times that just for the sake of having a job, be out of desperation, you need a job, you will just take anything. And I feel like this generation is more thoughtful about who they are and what they can realistically do rather than taking on roles and hating it. They just don't even want to put themselves through the torture.
I've actually sat there and thought about this, and all I could think about, there are a couple of things that stuck out to me. Number one, what I thought about is, did she not know what the dress code was when she went there? Because
I think most jobs you don't know the dress code until they give you that policy manual.
I, but the thing is, I guess when I'm thinking about, are we talking about an office setting, or are we talking about a factory setting? Are we talking about retail? It's kind of hard to know because in my
First was the
mind,
office. It was the office.
right, if I'm going to an office setting, I would not at all think that shorts would be okay to wear.
Now
And
for
at the
me, that
very
was. Hmm, I'm sorry.
and at the very least, if I didn't know, I would definitely Google it if I actually wanted that job. That's the first thing. The second thing is I was actually surprised that he asked her to go home and change.
Yeah,
I
me
wouldn't.
too. I feel like that was really a lot of grace.
I because my thing is, part of the interview process for me would have been how she's dressed. That should have told the interviewer, hey, she is probably not going to be a good fit for us if she came to an interview wearing shorts. That just says something. To me, it says something about her.
Well, I
Ma-
will say this. I will give you a little pushback on that because for me, it says that she interviewed so well. He liked her
mhm.
so much. He was willing to say, "Hey, can you just go change because our dress code here is no shorts."
She would have to interview extremely well. To get past that for me, it would definitely she would have to be very, very. She may have been good from a technical standpoint, but then from a personality standpoint, I could see her being a problem. So,
Hmm. Yeah, so
but
I
yeah,
think it's about the culture that you're trying to have at your workplace. And I think that definitely, shorts, I don't think that shorts are office appropriate. I've never, in any time, I mean, not even for an interview at McDonald's, did I think shorts were appropriate interview wear. But I'm like, this is a whole different world.
'cause there was a woman, and this is just one of my crazy stories with some people at work, somebody at work that used to work with us that, and we've had a lot of stories with people that
Talia's
come
like,
in
I'm
for interviews. And one of the things was a woman came to an interview with her dogs. And I kid you not. And the thing was, she actually ended up getting the job, right?
uh,
Surprisingly enough, she got the job, but she only lasted 4 months. And one of the problems that she had was she wanted to be able to bring her dogs to work. And and we talked about it, and I told, because I mean, I didn't hire her, but I did have to work with her. And one of the things I told her, I said, well, we're in a cubicle environment. Maybe if you would have had an argument there if you had your own office where these dogs could be enclosed, but people have allergies. Anything can happen with a dog. And we have other people that are visitors that do, tours through here and all this. You
Mhm.
cannot just have dogs in an open environment like that. And so it was these were big dogs. These were not small dogs.
She had more
And
than
so
one.
she had two.
Good grief.
And so it was kind of like, and so she only lasted 4 months, but she had a big problem with the fact that she could not bring her dogs to work with her. And so my thing was, why didn't they? And I mean, we've had other little things like that where on the interview, which is the only reason why I say that with the shorts, which is, but on the interview where people have shown different things about their personality, and surely enough, they would end up getting the job, and what you saw on that interview ended up being, and it's the nonverbal things that I'm talking about. They ended up being like, for instance, we had a situation where there was a young lady that came for an interview, and she was so late to the interview. It was the end of the day, and there's a test you have to take, and they said, "Well, look," because her excuse was, "Well, I couldn't find it. I had trouble finding the place and that kind of thing." And they said, "Well, that's fine. Come back tomorrow, and then we'll, do the interview, and then you can take the test." She came back the next day, and she was late again.
No, she was.
And they hired her for the position anyway. And guess what?
She
She
was
was
late every
late
day.
every day. And I'm sitting there, and it's like they're trying to give everybody a chance, but it's, I mean, you don't want to feel, you want to think that this is a one off, but
Right.
sometimes it's not a one off.
I
Maybe
mean,
it's
it happened twice. The first time is a one-off. When she was late the next day, it's like, no, no, ma'am.
yep, yep. She was like an hour and a half late.
An
Yeah,
hour and a half late for an interview.
exactly, exactly.
I wouldn't even done the interview. I'd have been like, thank you for coming by. It's a no for me. I would have hit her with a Simon Cowell. Like, nah, that is too much. So this next segment that they did, I thought it's like, do people just look for shit to argue and debate about? Because why is this a thing? Here we go.
A mom named Paige Boyack posted on TikTok that she was tired of her kids coming home from school, starving, wanting a snack, snacking. Then by the time dinner comes around, they're not hungry anymore. So she just started serving them dinner at 4:30 p.m. And this started a lot of conversation. A lot of moms confessed and were like, I do this too. Other moms were like, this is a genius idea. Others are like, that is just way too early to serve dinner. So what do you guys think as our
I think
moms?
it is brilliant, 1,000 times brilliant, because you know what? We eat at 5, and you're right. The snacking starts at 3:30, and they eat until 4.
I'm sorry. Like, what is brilliant about that? Like,
I don't
you
either. I
like
don't know
if the
that.
food is ready, you just eat. Like,
Yeah, I
if
don't
you
know
have
what the
family
problem
dinner,
is.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like if you have the food ready and they can go ahead and eat at 4, what's wrong with that? Like, why is that controversial?
I don't know. I think the only reason, like for instance, with my kids when they were home, we had dinner at 6. But the main reason that dinner was at 6 is because that's when everybody, by the time everybody got home, and then we were able to put food together and then have it on the table, it was roughly 6:30. But for the most part, dinner was at 6. So that's why it wasn't because there was some grand plan that we thought we had. It was just practical at the time. And so if you're
And I think
already
that
at
happens with
home,
most people. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
but yeah, if everybody is at home at 4:30, why not everybody eat at 4:30?
Yeah, so like, cause that's what I'm saying. Like, I can understand that people get in and you gotta get in at 5, or kids like y'all all get there at that time. You eat how you eat, and you just say no to the snacking because you'll be eating in a few, or maybe you give them a light snack, a little appetizer. But
And
to
then
Mhm.
and then they tell you it's better to stop eating what 2 to 3 hours before bedtime anyway. So why not? If you're gonna stop, if they need to stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, my kids went to bed at 8:30. So
Mm.
you typically 8:30. So that means, for me, even them eating at 6 o'clock was kind of close. But the thing is, if they're eating at 4:30, that means that they need to be finished eating by, if they go to bed, let's say 8 o'clock or 8:30. they need to be finished eating really by like 5:30, 5:30, 6 o'clock. So eating at 4:30 actually does make a lot of sense.
And my thing is, if you're there and it's ready,
Yeah.
what's the problem?
I,
Like,
I,
especially if they come home hungry, like you said, I could see if like you were getting off work and it had to wait. But like if you literally are there and you have the food ready, why do they gotta wait? Why do you have to wait? Just eat. I
exactly.
don't.
I don't know why it's a thing. I don't know why 30 minutes or an hour earlier is a, it's like okay, you know,
Some of
and
these
then
little segments crack me up because I was like, is there? They even had did a vote on it. Let me show you. Hold on.
a vote.
Yeah, they had to get a vote on it. I'm like, this is really. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes.
I'm like, these people are really serious. It just reminded me of back in the mommy wars when they were having the mommy wars on social media about stay at home
Uh-huh.
moms versus the working moms, and now they call them trad wives and all that kind of stuff. So it
Mm.
just makes me think about that. Like that, we got. Would you serve dinner? 65% says yes. 35% says no. It's like, is it really that deep? So that just kind of
Oh
tickled
my
me.
goodness. And I
So
mean,
let's go to the. Mhm.
I mean, and the thing is, I would love to even have that as an option because if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're able to, really be that into it, most of the time you just don't have a choice.
Yeah, and that's real too. So let's go to our last little segment and then we'll get out of here.
Maybe something for us
Yeah.
adults to try too.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
What is
Okay.
the internet
This
divided on?
last one is a funny one. So, C'est La Vie on TikTok posted about how on his birthday he was upset that his boyfriend upstaged him because he ordered fajitas. He says that the whole thing when the fajitas come out, it's always a show. The plate
Oops.
is
Sizzling. I love it. I love it.
all the
Sizzling.
attention is
Yes.
on his boyfriend and not him. All of his
Look at
friends were like, the boyfriend basically made the night. And so this got like something like 11,000 comments on TikTok.
Wow.
Some people were like, how dare he? Others were like, get over yourself. So
Wait,
what do you
how
guys
dare
think?
he order fajitas
How
at
dare he
his
order
boyfriend's birthday party?
dinner? Yes.
Listen, he could have ordered fajitas. What kept him from ordering fajitas?
Maybe he doesn't like fajitas, but it's his birthday. I don't know.
So when you order fajitas, you're trying to steal the spotlight?
He literally has on there is too much of a show. Like, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us in this world that you're mad? First of all, I don't do the birthday thing anyway, but like
Mm.
that somebody he said the fajitas coming out was too much of a show and stole the limelight off of him, and it was his birthday. I would have been
Oh
like, bitch, are
wow.
you okay? Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you
And I was
you
in a
know,
smile language. That
it's
just
funny.
took me back because that is so. If that is not vanity, I'm like, oh my god.
What's funny because there was another one that I saw where a girl, she went to a wedding and she
Mhm.
wore a cream colored dress, a sundress. It was a summer wedding, a cream colored dress with flowers all over it, right?
Mhm.
Apparently they thought that was too close to wearing white.
Mhm.
And and the bridesmaids had something that it was paint or something that they went to put on the girl's dress so that she to basically say, basically to make the dress not white. And I'm thinking, so y'all about to mess up this person because they feel like, well, you're still in the spotlight, and it was either that or she was gonna have to leave because they feel like
Oh,
she's
just
still in
that.
the spotlight from the bride. The bride is the only one that can wear white at the wedding. You're showing up here with this light colored dress. It's too close to white, so therefore you can either leave or you got to change or do something else. And I'm like,
I would have left. They wouldn't have messed up my dress, but at the same time, especially for younger women, I wouldn't have worn. Older women, I wouldn't have worn white to anybody's wedding anyway.
she didn't think it was. She did not think it was that because it was a cream colored dress and it had flowers on it. So then the question is, well, how close to white are we talking? Is this? And she showed the dress, but it was like, is this, too close to white? I don't.
But to be honest, for me, it wouldn't even bother me because, like, who cares? You know, she's not the bride. She's not
Yeah, it
going to
wouldn't
be
have
able to.
bothered me either. If she, long
It
as she
would
didn't
not.
show up in a gown, I wouldn't have cared. A white gown, I wouldn't care.
I
I,
wouldn't have
if it,
probably cared even for that either. Like, if you want to come to somebody else's wedding dressed like that, if you think, okay,
it's just odd.
it's
It would have been
weird. Like,
odd to
people are
me,
weird.
but I
And,
wouldn't have
and,
cared
and,
either.
and yeah, and I think you're right too. In a gown, it would be like, okay, so clearly you're here to disrupt and try to take away from right? Because like, why would you do that though? You could wear
Exactly.
any color. You could have wore anything. I just
Yeah.
think people know what they're doing a lot of times. I swear, I think people just do things deliberately. I think people to stir up some type of controversy because now you get to go online and now look at me. Oh, they put me out of the wedding, or oh, they said I shouldn't have had this dress on. But like, why are you wearing white to somebody's wedding? Like, I wouldn't have even done that. Like, or well, I might even go say that. Okay, let me give you an example. I wore a white skirt to my brother's wedding. It was a
Mm,
white skirt, and I had on a royal blue scarf.
mm.
That's not no you. But like, come on, let's just be realistic. We know what's appropriate, and we know when somebody's trying to. That wasn't dressed up. That was literally just a skirt and a shirt, and I was taking photos. If you're dressing in a way that is going to be very attention gap getting, um,
Yeah.
if they can, in a way they could, because like let's just be honest. We have a certain ideas of what is classically beautiful here to people in this country, and if you're showing up, especially if you are more attractive than the bride, and you are wearing something that outshines her, it is. I think it's inappropriate. I think people know what they're doing, and it's not to say that the bride is ugly or anybody is ugly. It is just that, but like, can we just? I feel
Yeah.
like we just can't be honest about these kind of conversations.
I went to a birthday party. One of one of his friends had a birthday party, and she requested all of the guests wear black or white. That was her request. Everyone there wear black or white, right? And then, of course, somebody shows up, a woman shows up in lavender. And
So if I'm just dead set on I don't want to do what you've asked me to do, especially if it's that specific, and if everybody like it's like going to an all white party in a red
yeah,
carpet. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be a disruption. But I don't like people telling me what color to wear. So if I
yeah,
have the option to wear what I want, I'm going to do that. But if it is something that is so specific that you're requesting, I have a black dress. I can wear black or white. It's not an issue.
yeah. If
If
it's
I was,
that serious, I just won't go. If I have some
yeah,
type of a if I have some type of a feeling about that, I just wouldn't go. But you
and that's
know,
what I'm saying. Like, keep your ass at home. Oh, excuse. Why am I cussing so much today? See, this is why my daddy called me the curse in Hebrew right there. This is why. Because
oh
today
goodness.
I got a potty mouth. He be like, here come that curse in Hebrew.
But what it was is the birthday girl wore red, and she wanted to stand out, and so everybody else had on black and white. She had on red, and then you see this other woman walking around in lavender, and I just thought that is just so.
Wait a
Um,
minute, what did she have on again? What colors did the lady that made the request have on?
she wore red, so all
Okay.
of the guests had on black and white, but she had on red. And then of course she did, it was like a Queen of Hearts type of a thing.
Yeah, so
And
I can
so
see the theme. She had a theme and a vision in
yeah,
her mind, and
yeah,
she's hoping that her people will cooperate and make her vision come true. Now, I think that's just honorary. Like, if I see you, okay, clearly you got a vision because you have these colors coordinated in this way, and you got on red. And what color did he have on?
her husband.
Uh
Oh, her husband had on black. Her husband had on
huh.
black.
Yeah,
So she
clearly,
was
yeah.
the only one that was supposed to have on color.
Okay.
And so he had on, and so she had her entrance and everything. But then you had that one woman that had on lavender, and I just thought, because I mean, you could see her everywhere she was walking around in the room,
And
and
that was deliberate. She wanted to be in competition with her. Now, literally, if the person is vain enough to where they want that kind of moment, And if you're
Yeah,
their friend, let your friend have their moment. I mean, let them.
exactly.
I mean, like it's not that, or like you said, you could have just stayed at home. I'm not going. But if there's always that person, and I would say that person that did that, that's the person who you know you don't deal with. For real, I'm saying for me, that just stands out as you see that a person that'll show up and do that, they do other things. That would be the message
Hmm.
because
Exactly.
that is clear undermining. Yeah,
I totally agree.
I don't feel the need to do that. So. But look at it, we made it an hour. You know, so saying like, do we have enough topics to do this? Like, I just wanted to have a little fun and keep it light today, especially with so many changes going on. I am so excited, and I hope you guys are following us on the Working Class Chronicles, on the Hebrew Woman Show here. Like, share, and subscribe, and definitely on the Renaissance Woman Show. You know, the Renaissance Woman Show really is a show where I and being a Renaissance woman, you'll see lately I've been playing with ambient sound videos. I just love to learn new things and how to do new things. And so a lot of times you'll come over on the Renaissance Woman Show. That channel is literally, I call that my Seinfeld show. It's about everything and nothing at all. You may see me
Mm.
interviewing someone. You may see me up there, I don't know, painting one day. There's no telling what you'll find on the Renaissance Woman Show. But the Working Class Chronicles, this is where we talk about leadership. We talk about workplace politics, ethics, values, and soon you're going to see us doing more news coverage. We're going to talk about what's going on in our world and what is affecting us in our workplaces today because I really am concerned about where we're going as a society and even the expectations that we have for one another and it's just the conduct there.
Yeah,
I just really lost our way.
I totally agree. I don't think that right now, and one of the things, and we can talk about it, and it'd be another show. I was actually just sitting here thinking about it. It's amazing to me how many people have noticed that our society has changed drastically. We're
Hmm.
way off in the weeds. Nobody really knows how did we get here? Why are things so differently? It's like the world just doesn't feel right. It's like we're all just completely out of place, and
And I,
nobody is trusting. Mhm.
because I can, I really think it starts at the top. If
Yeah.
you look at the progression, and I'm just talking about not that, I'm not saying any of these other presidents were righteous, right? But
Hmm.
they had enough sense to know that you just didn't do certain things openly. And there was always controversy because people are imperfect beings. But now we have reached a point where you don't even have to pretend, you don't have to hide it. And I don't know if it's better that it's out in the open, but to just be an open liar to in leadership, and I see it everywhere. If people, you even like you can see it here on social media, people will sit up here on these channels and lie to their audience's face, and then come back the next
Hmm.
week and act like it didn't happen, or even
Yeah.
start talking about it like, yeah, I did that, but you said you didn't.
Yep.
Like it is just like being a liar is perfectly fine with everybody right now. If having no integrity, somebody being a thief, it's like those people, well, they stole money. People don't care.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
you think about that stuff that went on with Polite and all the money and stuff that went on with like there was one guy that and I'll never forget the guy he came to when we were doing real talk with real people came on the show and talked about how Polite had swindled him out of money saying that he would sell the property for him. Well, this is where the accountability came in. There was so much we did so much media around the Polite ends up giving the guy the money back. But do you think that stopped people from supporting Polite until even
Mm.
when we got to the point where he is now in jail for sexually assaulting a minor, you still have people defending Polite.
There are people that surprisingly to me, are actually defending, who is it, Nature Boy?
Yes,
And he has his own, I mean, same type thing. And
And
I
would be
don't.
and people would watch Carbonation, watch him assault them girls, all the things that the
Yep.
bizarre things that he was doing, having sex with the ladies that were married and their husbands
Yep.
allegedly,
Yep.
um, making the men drink his sperm, and
Hmm.
everybody's still okay with this. And I'm just wondering, is this? I have to ask, is this the new? Is this Sodom and Gomorrah? Like, are you want to allow? Is this Babylon? And if we believe it's Babylon, what does the Bible say is going to happen to Babylon? Because I mean,
Complete
we're
total destruction.
yeah. I mean, I'm just waiting on. I'm just where are we going to see people just putting the mattresses on the street like they did in Sodom and Gomorrah and just going at it. I mean, we already got naked bike rides.
Mm, mm, mm.
So I don't know. I don't know where we're going, but I definitely think integrity. It does not matter. What people are more concerned about the optics than they are about the ethics, and I think that's
Yep.
something that we need to talk about. So
Definitely.
that being said, everybody, we appreciate you spending this hour with us. It's hour and 5 minutes. It's 6 minutes. Thanks for
Okay.
watching. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.